PixieBrix live with Brittany Joiner. I look very much forward for this session. Hello, Brittany. Do you have your dog there?
Yes. Well, no, I actually don't. I did, and then he ran. I think he's gone off back to bed. I think he said, no, this is too early for me, and he's gone back to bed. But I think he will join us at some point in the next hour. I'm pretty confident.
Thanks, Brittany. And you're going to show us PixieBrix. PixieBrix is sponsoring this stream here. And can you tell me what PixieBrix is and what you're using PixieBrix for today?
Yeah, absolutely. PixieBrix is basically a low-code Chrome extension tool that you can build things in your browser. So the way I like to describe it is it's kind of like Zapier, if you've ever used that, where you set up automation for if this happens, then do this, and you can combine apps together. I like to think of PixieBrix as something a little more powerful than that you can customize within your own browser. So you can create actions within Chrome. You can update the UI. You can add buttons to things and trigger certain things to happen once you click those buttons. So it's pretty powerful because you can connect a lot of different apps and you can kind of control that experience a little more.
Thank you, Brittany. And I saw what you built here. I'm looking very much forward to see it again. And to the viewers out there, welcome to the stream. I'm very excited to see you here. If you have any questions to Brittany, to her Trello and PixieBrix work, you can post them in the chat. And a good place to hang out if you enjoy PixieBrix, that is the PixieBrix Slack. I'll post the link in the chat in a few seconds. I like this Slack because you can get answers to all your questions there. The founders are even they'll even jump on a Zoom call to help you with one of your flows here. So I can definitely recommend joining that Slack. And over to you, Brittany.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just going to get started here by kind of showing you a couple different things I've built in PixieBrix, and then we'll get started with actually building them. But the first thing that I have is obviously a huge Trello nerd, so we're going to spend a lot of time talking about things I do with PixieBrix and Trello. So one thing I do is I like to keep track of content in Trello. And so, for instance, if I come across an article, I may want to move it to a board. Very specifically a reading list board where I can keep track of, oh, here's the articles I've come across that I want to read. And so I built something with PixieBrix where anytime I'm on an article I'm interested in, I can just right click send to Trello, and select which board I want to send it to.
Wow, is that all your boards?
Oh yes, this is all my boards. I have these are all, I think these are just all of my active boards even. So yes, I have a lot of boards. So yeah, so once you're there, you can also hard code it if you have a very specific board you want it to go to, which I think I've got an example of that I can show you all. But yeah, and so then this is you can select the list. So I want it to go into my reading list, and then I can add any additional notes here if I want to say make sure to read this or any other notes. Hit submit. You can see it successfully ran, and then I go over here and you can see it added this card with the title, the link to the article, and my notes there. And so it's a great way when I'm done, I can just move that over, or I can archive it, whatever I want to do with it. So that's one way I love using that.
Cool. And maybe you can explain in 10 seconds what Trello actually is for those of us who have never used it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So Trello, I like to describe it as a digital whiteboard with sticky notes on steroids. And so it's exactly what you're kind of seeing here. You have a board with a bunch of lists. You can access this anywhere. You can access it on your phone, your desktop. You can even access it offline. So it literally can go with you everywhere. And it's full of lists that contain these little cards. And I like to describe these little cards as they're basically supercharged sticky notes. And so you have these sticky notes that you can click open and have all sorts of details. You can add members to them. You can add labels and due dates, and you can add, sub-item checklists within it and track progress on that. You can attach files and links, and you can style them a little bit. And there's a ton of automation you can do within Trello to make all of those workflows move nicely. But there's also a lot, you can do with PixieBrix and other tools to even further automate experiences within it.
So is it right to say that you are a Trello fan and expert, and you use PixieBrix to further upscale Trello to your needs?
Yes, that is definitely a great way to say that. I am a self-proclaimed Trello nerd. I wear that title with pride, but also I've been voted like #1 super fan, most likely to get a Trello tattoo. That will probably be happening at some point. So yeah. So definitely I'm all of those. I'm a huge Trello nerd, and yeah, love to use PixieBrix to further that productivity.
And for the viewers out there, I actually found Brittany on a very nice YouTube channel. I will link to that up here in the right corner after the stream is done. So I'll edit the video if you watch this video afterwards. And I will, of course, put it in the description. It's already there, so you can go follow Brittany's nice channel with Trello and PixieBrix right away.
Yeah. I love to do live streams and build videos and just make different content about how to do cool things inside of Trello. Like a couple weeks ago, I actually like live streamed me building like a meal planner, and I've created a meal planning tool inside of Trello where you just click a few buttons and it generates meals for you for the entire week with a shopping list.
I'm looking forward to see what you have for us, Britt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and this flow here, where you send a card to Trello with PixieBrix, how hard is that to build? If
It's very easy to build. It's very easy. I'll walk you all through it exactly, but it is extremely easy to build. It's just a couple steps. So you'll whenever you're using PixieBrix, you access it entirely through your Chrome menu here. So you basically just click right click on a page and click inspect, and then I'll show you. I'll walk you through just real quick what it looks like, and then show you how I've set it up. So you use a thing called context menu, which is that you saw when I right clicked and something popped up here. That's called a context menu. And so you add a brick for that. And then you just need to add a brick defining the Trello user. Lastly, you'll add a brick for the new card with prompt. So I'll show you how we would set that up from scratch here. So first of all, you just click add, click context menu, create new context menu. I'm going to call this Trello 2, but you can call this literally whatever you want. And then this, what you put here, is what shows up when you right click right here. So see, it's already showing Trello 2 there. So I could change it to like link me. And if I right click that, it'll show that right there. So that's just whatever you want to call that. You can specify where you want this to happen. I actually want this to happen anywhere on the web, not just when I'm on the Atlassian community. So I'm going to click all URLs, and it updates that string right there to be clear that I want to use it everywhere. And then next, you're going to add the Trello, like you want to get Trello boards from user. So if you click this, and put in you'll need to have already connected your Trello account. If you haven't done that, it's super easy. You just click this link, and then you'll add integration, and it shows you exactly how to add Trello in here, but it's super easy. You literally just follow these links to get one thing, then you put that in there, and then you follow this link with updating the API key with what you've got there, and then it'll give you another thing to spit out there, and then you're all connected to go. So that's super easy. And then you just type in the username. Mine's Britt Joiner. And that will basically, what you're telling PixieBrix is, hey, on this account, go find Britt Joiner and give me a list of all of her Trello boards, which is exactly what you saw me doing when Anders was like, is that all of your boards? Like, that's what this brick is doing right here. And then you just need the new card on Trello with prompt brick. And just to back up in case anybody's not super clear about what PixieBrix is, the way you build things is with all of these bricks. Like, these little pieces are called bricks. And so you can think of it as like steps in a workflow. So I actually wrote a blog post about how when I'm building stuff with PixieBrix or anything in general, I try to stop back and not worry so much about what are the specific things I'm going to do, but like, what are the actions I'm trying to accomplish? And I kind of write it out in pseudocode. And honestly, sometimes it happens on this whiteboard you've got behind me. Sometimes it's on a notebook nearby me. But I love to, like, I'll write down, okay, so I want to, right click and be able to get the data from the page I'm on. And then I want to select my board. And then I want to create the card, and send it. And so bricks tie really nicely to that because there's usually a brick for each step that you want to do. So, so we've got. Oh, you have a question, Anders?
So you're making your description of your code. You're making that on your whiteboard or in your notebook.
Yes.
Is that with human words as well?
Yes. So it's called pseudocode, and yes, I'm not sitting here writing down which brick exactly I'm gonna type. I'm literally saying something like, I want to grab my board, or like I want to pick out which board. Then I want to pick out which list, and then I want to be able to edit the message next to it. And like you're literally just thinking through like statements of this is the action. You're not worrying about if it's in the code you're using or whatever tool you're using. You're literally just thinking like if you were to describe this action to a human, some other person, what are you wanting it to do? And then when you go and code it, that's when you're actually, or whether you're coding in a language or using something that's low to no code like PixieBrix, you still have to think about that logical workflow and then just put it into whatever their rules are. In this case, bricks.
Cool.
So yeah, so we've got the grab the board users, and one thing to note with each brick is it does the action down here, and then when it's done, it basically returns an object here, and that returns it in whatever you call this here. So it defaults to something like transformed or form, or what depends on what the brick is. I like to change it to something more readable, so I'm going to call it board. And basically what this is doing is this is returning, it's spitting out a user ID that Trello or that PixieBrix can read to go then pick which card or which list and board to send this card to. So we've got that there. So we'll reference that in this next piece, which is this brick is creating now that new card. And so what we're going to do is we need the ID of the board, which we're going to select what it is, and it's a variable. It's exactly what we grabbed from this previous step. So we're just going to type @board. And then for card description, I want it to be the link. I want it to actually grab the link from here. And if you'll notice on the context menu, we actually have access to a couple different things that we can grab in here. So from any link where you click that, you can grab the language, the type, the URL, the title, an image. You can add, just about whatever you want there. And so I'm mostly interested in the title and URL, but let's start with the URL. You can just click this and it will copy that variable name on there. And then you can go back down here and just paste it in. Make sure to set that to variable. And that is now going to update the card description, or when it shows you the prompt, it's going to default the card description to that URL. And then I actually also want to include the title here. So that I just happen to know that is title, but if you didn't know that, you could go back just like I grabbed URL and copy that and grab that over. And so, yeah, now let's save it, and you can try it out as you go. So we're going to right click and we're going to click link me. And let's watch the magic happen. So there you go. It's now you see this step happening. It's saying, okay, now get a board, and it's letting me choose which board I want. I'm going to grab this one, hit submit, and it is now moving on to this next step where it's saying, okay, now that you know what board it is, go show the lists that are on that board, which that's exactly what it is. And then here's the title. I could change it here if I wanted to. Like, let's say I want to add a note like this is awesome or something. And then I want to add something down here like I should really read this. And then submit. And I got to select the list. Submit, and then it is over here creating a Trello card, and you can see exactly it grabbed all the text that I had, has the link there. I can click it, go back to it, and read it. So yeah, that is super simple to build. I know that felt like a lot just because I went through each step by step in detail, but that's exactly how you would do it. It's very, very simple. Just have that context menu, pick the board, and then set up the card prompt.
And would you say that you come up with these PixieBrix ideas for Trello yourself, or do you see someone else build them and then you try to replicate them?
I would say some of them are myself, but this one kind of came along because there's a Trello Chrome extension that lets you really easily add a card to Trello, but it's being kind of deprecated, so you can't add it. So for instance, I'm on a new machine and I actually don't have it on this machine. Like I can't get the Trello Chrome extension on here. And so that led me to kind of think through what are some alternatives for getting data, getting links quickly in Trello. And so this is one way that I found to do it with PixieBrix.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
It looks nice, but I can see that you have a background in probably presenting this. I mean, you're an awesome presenter. Have you done many of these live streams before?
I haven't actually done too many of them. I've recently started on my channel. I'm trying to get more into it because I prefer the live stream feel because I feel like it's a little bit more like just I like the like raw and honest and not necessarily super polished, but just hey, it's me. Watch me build this. Watch me think through how I'm doing this, and I'll help you. And if you have questions along the way, I'm happy to address them. And you don't really get that in like a polished video sometimes. So I've only done a couple of the live streams so far, but yeah, I've given a lot of talks about Trello and how to use Trello and doing things with Trello, and so I've had a lot of practice with that. But only recently have I started with the live stream piece of it.
Cool, and you also have some experience, clearly some experience in coding or making these things together. Can you reveal what you're actually doing in your daily life?
Yes, yeah. So full time, I work as a software engineer at Elastic, where I'm building internal apps for our employees and our support customers at Elastic. And so, yeah, I used to work in marketing. I spent most of my career in marketing, and a couple years back, I started learning programming on the side because I very much like thinking about things and workflows and you know how to build things and make them work. And so, I started studying it and found a team at Elastic that kind of mentored me and helped me grow. And then when they had room for headcount, they offered it to me. So yeah, now full time I am a software engineer.
Very nice, Brittany.
But I will say PixieBrix is like, you don't have to be a software engineer to understand PixieBrix. Like some of the terms that I mentioned may have made more sense if you were like when I said things like this returns, you know, the board ID, or you know, when I mentioned using variables, like those are all programming terms, but you can understand kind of what they mean by it. You don't have to be technical to use PixieBrix.
Cool. And I was about to say that if I were to learn a programming language so I can use PixieBrix better, what should that be?
So, I mean, I honestly don't use any of my like programming language knowledge really with PixieBrix in terms of like specific languages. It's more of like understanding the concepts of programming, which is if I do this, then this will happen, or trying to access specific pieces of it. I know that like I haven't actually learned it much myself, but I know there's like handlebars JS and like nunchucks JS that you can use that would kind of like let you set some of these variables and stuff. And I know Todd's in the chat. He may be able to actually answer this question better because I spend most of my days on like JavaScript and TypeScript. And again, the stuff that transfers over to PixieBrix is more my programming like logical thinking more so than any like specific language syntax.
So you would say that my viewers, they are a lot of RPA developers. I'm an RPA developer too. So you'll say those ones and me, we will have an easy transition into PixieBrix because we understand the logic as well. Here.
Yes, exactly. You'll understand because you'll be like, oh, well, if this happens, then this happens, and this is what's being returned, and I need to reference this piece here, and like, oh, well, to get this, it's going to need to get this. So yeah, that definitely will help you out.
Cool. And back to you, Brittany. I will not interrupt you.
Cool. Oh, yeah. No worries. I was going to show one other sort of use case here. I was going to show not only can you do things with the context menu, but you can also do things within Trello. So, for instance, I have built this button called Status Ping that when I click it, I'll be able to select what am I doing. I am working on something. I can hit next, and then it will automatically, let me drag Slack over here so you can see, it will send a notification to Slack that says Brittany Joiner is working on this Trello card. So it's a good way to let your team know. I actually got this idea from the PixieBrix team because they use it with GitHub, and I wanted to try to find a way to make it work with Trello, of course. So I'll walk you through the way this one works.
And can I challenge you, Brittany, here?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you do it like 50% slower?
50% slower. Interesting. Okay. All right.
Just the building, because I find it so interesting. You're clearly very, very skilled, but just so we can talk a little bit about the bricks and the steps.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show you the way. So first of all, this is, I'm going to start by walking you through like what I actually have there, and then I'll show you how we can build it. How about that? Because way you can see sort of the blueprint.
For sure. And I'll give you a couple of questions to the workflow then.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So, all right. So first of all, you start by, you got your button brick, and that's just from over here clicking add button. And that is like, I'll show you exactly how that works right now. But what you do is you literally just, as soon as you click add button, notice everything gets very highlighty on here. And what that is what you're doing is your PixieBrix is like looking for what we call an element, which I just saw Todd post in here about like a knowledge of selectors and CSS, which that's actually a very valid point. Like, I don't know why I didn't think of that. Like, I know everybody says like CSS isn't really a programming language per se, but it's definitely useful for PixieBrix because like understanding how they work and like what selectors are and how to grab specific elements, that definitely comes in handy. So what it's doing when I say element is it's actually like looking for these things here. So it's looking for, oh, there's an H3 element, there's a div, there's an image, there's a span, different things like that. So what it's literally to create that, all I did was I clicked the edit button, and you can see that it will it's run out of room here because I've got so many other buttons, but it adds one up on here. Let's see if I can here. Let's see. We will build this one from scratch. So let me just make this, not work on Trello for a minute. That way we can see how this works. So, okay, it's going to go away. So now you see that action button. And I can move it to be at the end, at the start of wherever that is. So we have, call it whatever I want to call it. And so, where did I make it? My Trello button. There we go. So yeah. So we have, you can call it whatever. You can call it, save this. You can call it like update. Oh, hang on. I think I've lost it now in this one. Let me select it again. So if you want to grab that spot again, you just click this mouse thing, and then you click the button, and there you go. So see, now we've got update, and it's right there.
So what you're doing? So you're doing it. You're creating a clone of these exact buttons for you to use to your custom flow. That's what's going on, right?
Yes, that is my custom flow, is that I'm literally like grabbing a button that's already there and then duplicating it. So you can see I'm impacting the UI in Trello, where you can now actually, like, this isn't a Trello thing. This isn't like native in Trello to be able to add other buttons on here. So literally I'm grabbing what is the edit button, and then I am making my own button called update. And then everything that happens after this is what's going to happen when I click that button.
Cool.
So yeah, so now the next step, we've got that button. What I want to do, just going back to status being here, I have a form that pops up. And what I want to do with this is I want to be able to communicate with the other team or other team members. Here's what I'm working on. Here's what I'm doing. And I want to be able to do it in a click or two, rather than having to copy and paste this link, go post it in Slack and say, hey, I'm working on this thing. So what I need is to select a status. So the next thing I'm going to add is a modal, show modal. And what the modal does is, I think you've seen the examples with it in when I create a link in Trello, or when, just even now when I ran through the example where it pops up a form and asks me something. So this is where, you can make it say whatever you want. I'm going to get rid of my title because I don't really need that. I just want one field. And I want it to say, I am ... or wait, hang on. That's the label. I'm going to call it status. And then the label is I am ... And you can see it previewing over here. So this is just thinking through, let's say you were using TypeScript or a Google form or something. This is as simple as that. You're just adding a new question, a new field. and you're saying like what type you want it to be. I actually want it to be a drop down, but you see you can select through all of these. You can set a default value, which means if they don't select anything, this is what it'll be. I'm going to say working on as my default one, but I'm also going to add an option for stuck on. Think about any sort of status you may have. So you can get really fancy with these, be very specific. You could have stuck on, working on, needing review on. You could say I am finishing up.
So
You know,
So
yep.
just to understand it 100% correctly, if I want to make this flow afterward. So in Trello, I opened this card and that clearly says what I'm working on, because that's what's Trello all about, these cards here. And then I can say, well, I want to update my team or my friends or whoever I need to update. And then I add a custom button, or you add the custom button, but I could add that too with PixieBrix. And then PixieBrix sends this card, the info of this card, to the Trello. No, sorry, to the Slack or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what it does. And so what we're doing right now is basically building out the pieces to get the info that it would need to send it. So, and in that custom message here, notice it says Brittany Joiner is working on the issue, and then a link to it. And so when you think of like going back to pseudocode, what we're trying to do here, I need to find a way to get it a status. So it could be stuck on, could be working on. I need to get it a status, which is what we're building in this modal. And then I need to go get the username of whoever it is. It's a little bit tricky, but I'll show you all how to do that in a second. And then I need to get the data of the card we're working on, which thankfully Trello makes that super easy because, or PixieBrix and Trello make that super easy because it's all right here in the URL. So in the context button up here, I have access to all of those things I was telling you about before, where with the context menu, we have access to the URL and the title. So those are the only two things I'm going to need to be able to send that link over.
And Brittany, I will say that from a video creator to a video creator, I think I learned a lot from you. You're very good in presenting things, and I'll definitely take some personal things with me. Of course, I also learned a lot of PixieBrix and Trello today, but so compliment to you for being a good presenter.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm open to any tips or advice from you or anybody else watching. If you have any advice or tips on how to do this better, because like I said, I'm definitely a little new to this, but I'm really enjoying it. So glad you all are too.
And if you viewers out there enjoy Brittany too and her presentation here, you could really help this stream, Brittany, PixieBrix, all of us a lot if you give it a thumbs up. That will improve the reach of this live video. And thank you. And Brittany?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, all right. So now we've got this, setting the status piece here. The next piece we need to build is being able to, hang on, let me actually get rid of this field. I added an extra field. We just need this one. Next, we're going to grab the username. So this is a little bit tricky, and there's a lot of steps that are involved in it, but you've just got to think through like logically what would happen here. So I'm going to stop, instead of like actually building in PixieBrix, I'm going to show you first. If I wanted to get the username, like who's actually logged into Trello doing this thing, what I would do is I'd close out of the issue.
Yeah, and again, can I ask about something before you move on?
Absolutely.
Are Trello boards, are those personal, or can you work on them within a team?
You can work on them within a team. So yeah, there's usually a bunch of different people in here, but you're signed into one specific account. You're signed into your account. But yeah, you can absolutely, there's oftentimes lots of people in here. So I might have a card, you might have a card, Todd might have a card. We could all have different cards in this same board, and it's a good way to collaborate. You can always filter by cards that are just yours to clean it up and be able to see what you want. But yeah, oftentimes there's multiple people in your Trello board.
Cool.
Yeah. So to get that username of who is the one, actually doing this action, you'd close out of that, and then you click your profile picture, and right there, it gives your name and who it is. So it's not tricky, except that we need to now tell PixieBrix to basically go do all of those things. And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to do what's called simulating a DOM event. And that sounds more programming and technical than it is. It literally just means simulating an event. Like, don't worry about DOM. Thank God you all don't need to understand DOM too extremely well to play with PixieBrix. But so you'll add the simulate DOM event brick, and all you need to do is click the thing that you want it to click. So for me, first I needed to close out of this issue. So I've just clicked that selector, and you notice it all highlighted things, and I grabbed that close button right there.
So what's going on here is that you're actually telling PixieBrix to click around in Trello?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm telling it what to interact with, which was that close button. And now over here's the event. I'm telling it, you can tell it to do various things. Pretty much, I only have found click helpful so far, but I mean, you saw there's a ton of different events in there where you could, like mouse enter, you could focus into it. Could be good for like adding text or different things like that. So yeah, literally all this command is saying, hey, find this thing, this selector, which we just already picked out was this, and click it. So it's going to go when I run that. So we need to actually do that again because I needed to make a few more clicks. So just add that brick again. And this time I'm going to click that thing. I wanted to select my profile picture. And again, the action is click. So just to recap what we've told it to do so far, you're inside of an issue and we wanted to go grab the username. We're telling it to close the issue, click that profile thing to show up this menu. So we're going to add one more action here that is called wait for a DOM element to load, because you want to make sure it actually shows up, because PixieBrix can move really fast and sometimes faster than Trello. So if it takes you a second to load this, we want to wait and make sure that is actually ready, because we want it to now grab this, but we need to make sure it's obviously there before we can grab it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So all we do is, again, you're telling it what you're waiting on. It's super easy. I wish I could do this in programming, like in my day job when I'm building stuff, because I don't have to go click around and figure out what the thing is. I have this selector here, so I just click right there, and it knows, oh, okay, we're waiting on whatever that element is, that div that says Brittany Joiner. We're waiting on that to load, and you can set, max wait time. I don't need any of that, so you can just leave that at that.
And if I can interrupt you here, Brittany, this looks very much what I'm used to as an RPA developer, like these selectors and selecting them automatically and having the selector created for me. So I'm used to that, and it seems easy to adapt, I think. But what happens if say that these elements doesn't exist, or somehow the system shuts down and that will never find the element? Will this give us an error message, or what will happen then?
Oh yeah. You'll get an error message. It'll run something that says like this action can't run. So you'll know that it didn't run. But the debugging and stuff, what I have found to be most helpful when you're trying to debug is in between each of these steps, add something called a window alert, which if you are a programmer, you'll be very familiar with the console log debugging, and that is effectively what I find this as. I will use the window alert to input, whatever I'm expecting from a previous step and seeing where it gets stuck. But also you can check your logs. We haven't had any errors here yet, but there'll, be some different logs here that will say, very specific messages of, oh, this isn't working because of this. And you can then go fix and address that. But 9 out of 10 times, if something's not there and it's not able to find it, you can probably find some other element to grab onto.
And this is clearly one of the more advanced PixieBrix flows that I've seen, but it's very nice to see that we can actually do these advanced stuff. What did you do? The brick you just deleted, what was that for? That was for error handling or making sure that things exist?
That was the window alert to pop up a message, which I don't need that since I'm not actually, I don't need a debug just yet, fingers crossed. But that's, I'm not using that in this break, in this extension just for debugging.
And again, if we are facing any problems with this, the go-to place to get PixieBrix help is the Slack, which where we both are actually, and
yes.
We're hanging out there. And we can recommend that. I'll post a link again in the chat. I did it once, but I'll post it
Yeah,
again.
no, definitely do, because this team is fantastic at responding to stuff. Like I've never met someone who's like so helpful to basically like, say exactly what you need to do. They'll even get on a call with you. They'll record a loom. They'll do, various things to make sure like, so if you have an idea of you're watching this and you're like, "Oh, I want to build this, but I don't know exactly how." Come join that Slack community, post your idea. Everyone will rally around trying to help you figure out, oh, you'll need this brick, and then you can set it up with this. And if you're like, oh, like, well, I'm stuck on this, like, for example, I was a little bit stuck on um, replicating something like this in GitHub. Like, how do you get the GitHub username? Well, I had someone on the team actually show me how they do it, which was, a very similar process to what we're doing now, where you're simulating a few DOM events, waiting for that element to load, and then you're gonna use that jQuery selector reader to basically just grab what that text is right there. And so the team is super, super helpful at jumping in there, responding to those questions and things. And so you won't, you're not stuck at all. Like, don't feel like you have to build this alone.
I was actually shocked when I joined the Slack, and then one of the participants there had a question, and then one of the founders, who I know were terribly busy, he just jumped on a Zoom call helping this guy in 30 minutes just for free. That was really awesome, I think.
Oh yeah, that's extremely common. They do that all the time, all the time. I've never had to wait, honestly, more than, a couple hours to get some sort of like, and that's even if I'm like responding, like if I like have some question at night, like there's a response by the morning. You know what I mean? Like it's like, it's amazing how quickly they get in there, and I know they have busier things to do than help me use PixieBrix, but they do, and they very much listen to users. I provided a lot of feedback of, hey, it'd be easier if we could see this, or hey, I keep getting stuck on this piece when I'm actually, working on something, and they're super receptive to that feedback.
I think what I like, as you say, is that it is community driven. Like you can feel that you are actually a part of it.
Right, exactly.
And then and Todd, he had a comment for the debugging. He likes the confetti and sound effect bricks whenever he's debugging.
Yes. Which, we can actually add that on here, and I'll show you that. But to finish this up, you just need that this jQuery selector reader, and literally what you're saying is, okay, now go pick a thing and read the text from it. So you're hopefully now by this point used to click that arrow and go where you want. Just click that. And this is basically, you're defining a property here.
And I think this was a bit delayed. What did you click on here?
Oh, I clicked the jQuery selector reader brick. So
yeah.
Wait.
I saw that, but then you click the select.
Yes, click this this blue, green, teal arrow thing, and then over here, click on what you're wanting, which in my case is the name. So I'm clicking that, and it's selecting that div. And it's naming that property. I'm going to rename it to name so it's easier to access. But that's the name right there. And so then now we've got the name. So
what happening here is that you are taking this name here, and then you're getting the selector for that name, and then you will store it into this variable, and you will reuse it later on.
Yes, exactly. Because now we have all the pieces we need, because we've got the title and the link from up here. We've got what exactly my status is from what I've selected in this modal. And then we've now grabbed the username. So what I'm going to do now is put all that together in send to Slack. And there's a new way to do it with their new Slack API. I know it's deprecated, so I'm going to need to learn the next one. But I've been using the send Slack message webhook. And all of that is, I'm just going to grab it over here, the link for it. But when you create that, when you add that to your Slack workspace, just add the incoming incoming webhooks app to your Slack workspace. You'll generate a URL that looks like this, and basically what it is it's creating a way to post into that Slack. So I'm going to copy that over for this one. And you just paste that into your hook URL. And then from here, you just build out what else you want it to see. So I can call this one, I'm going to call this Anders on YouTube. So you can see the message come through. This is who it comes from. And then you can say what channel to post it in. I want it to go into my test channel. And then for text, I'm just going to copy and paste this and then walk you through exactly what it is. So, this is the text. So this is the message you want to send through to Slack. So remember, if you look at the example here, what I want to share is who is doing something and what are they doing and what are they doing it on. So we just need to inject these three things in this message. So first thing is data name, which the way we got that is, remember, we clicked all of those different DOM events to bring up that username, and then we renamed, hey, whatever you get in that area, it's called name. So we're saying go to that brick and then get the name that you get from that. Because we could put multiple things in here, right? I could put email, and it, grabs that email address too. So I could have multiple things I want to access in here, but I'm really just interested in name. So could have that, and then that's how you access that. You say, here's what brick it's related to, the @data.name, and then I want to grab the status to say I am, Brittany is doing what. And so again, you go to the form.status. We're going to the whatever brick I want, and then what's that field name that I want. It's called status, and so that's where I want that there. And then to do the link, this is the syntax for links in Slack. You do that left caret and then @input URL, and make sure to put these, for all of these, you need to have these two brackets, these two curly brackets wrapped around the variable, because since we're putting together a whole message, we can't just do the @variable. But if you do @variable, you don't need those two things. But since we're doing multiple variables and we're adding some text and formatting, we're doing it as a string. So we need to define what is a variable in here, which is the data name, the form status, and then this link right here, the URL. So this is where you actually want it to go. And then you add that pipe. And then on the other side, you add the title. And that's what makes it hyperlinked like this, where it, doesn't look like some long URL, but when you click it, it goes straight to what that is. Make sense?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, cool. And so, so let's put it all together now. And see what happens when I click it. Open this. I'm going to go update. Notice now the modal's popped up asking me what the status is. I'm going to say I'm needing review on. Hit submit. Notice it successfully ran action. So this is what you're asking, Anders, like successfully ran the action. You can see right here, but you can also see here in Slack, Brittany Joiner. So that's my name that it was grabbing, is needing review on, and then has that card and that issue there.
Oh, and it says that it came from Anders on YouTube.
Yes. Yep. That's what it sets whatever I make it right here, the bot name.
Yeah.
That's exactly where it comes from. So, and this works on every Trello card, right? So you've seen me do a lot of examples with this nominate, someone, but I can do that on, this one. Same. I don't have to code anything new. I just have to say, exactly what that is, and it uses the same logic. I don't have to build anything new. It does this on every card on my board. Takes the name, my status, and then wherever, the button that I click, that's at.
That seems very cool. Would you say that this PixieBrix, did you build that in one go, or did you need to see some documentation or get some help, or how difficult was it, would you say?
It was a little bit tricky, but once I saw how they did finding GitHub usernames, like I reached out to the team about that, and they showed how they do it with GitHub, and I was able to figure out, I just need to step through different DOM events to be able to make that username pop up here, so I can grab it there. So once I figured that part out, it honestly wasn't that hard. I know this looks a little tricky if you haven't done anything with this. Like if you've never done this before, it might feel a little like overwhelming, but really it's just step by step. And the team, like I said, is very quick to walk you through, like, you'll need to simulate the DOM event, and like they literally sent me a loom of how they do it on their GitHub, and I was like, I get it. I just need to basically click through a bunch of things until that element is shown, and then grab that element.
Cool.
So yeah, that's honestly the trickiest part.
And you can build very easy flows that can actually increase your productivity. Like not that this was easy when you explained it to us, but you can actually build very easy flows where you almost just drag and drop these bricks and
Yes.
then.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, that's a bit more of a complicated version, but I just wanted to kind of show you the power behind it and how, like, once you do set it up, it's like super easy to go. And I think I saw Todd post in here, like, if you're just building this for you, then you can hard code, like, you don't have to do all of these things here. You could literally just, go in here and forget about having to get the name. You could just type your name. Brittany is working on, whatever. But if you wanted to build this and then let other people on your team be able to enable it, then it will do the same thing on their machines, where it will simulate that DOM event of going to find their Trello username rather than just yours.
So tell me, have you, after you discovered PixieBrix, have you actually made any of your friends or teammates or colleagues, are those ones using PixieBrix now as well?
So I'm always the early adopter that everybody kind of watches and waits until I build something super cool, and then they're like, okay, that's kind of cool, and then they, like, it takes a little while for them to, like, test the waters and get used to it. But I've definitely had some interest at work. Like, some of my colleagues have been really interested in, like, we're often translating text, and so I was able to, with PixieBrix, create an extension that just highlights some text, and you right click and it immediately translates it to the value we need. And so I've definitely had some interest in that. Yeah. Other than that, it's really difficult because I work for a large company to get into our Slack. So being able to, like, add new apps to our Slack instance is nearly impossible. So I haven't been able to implement this nudge sort of update button, but I would definitely be willing to do that if I could get into our Slack instance, because I think our team would be super interested in that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, that's PixieBrix in a nutshell. I mean, I could obviously keep going for hours and hours and talk about some more things to do with it, but that is definitely the easy peasy lemon squeezy.
that was very nice to see, Brittany, and thanks for showing that to us. And maybe we can talk a bit about your YouTube channel, because I know there you'll have more PixieBrix and Trello goodies there. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I try to post something on there weekly, but just last week I had a video about syncing card data. If you're trying to, like, have, two cards and different boards that are about the same thing, but you want that data to match, like, how can you do that? Sometimes I'll post, like I said, about how to build a meal planner, or how I do all of my annual planning and stuff in Trello. And so, yeah, I try to release new stuff weekly. I also have a blog if you're more of a written content type of person. It's very easy to remember. It's trello.substack.com, and you can find links to that from my YouTube page, which I think we're going to link to in here. But that's a blog where I try to write weekly about different things I'm using with Trello. But yeah, in general, I'm a huge, like, productivity nerd, and I love building stuff. So yeah, my YouTube channel is just full of me trying to build things, and just trying out different stuff and seeing who wants to join and get some useful nuggets along the way. But yeah, do you have any tips for me, Anders? Like, I feel like you're the expert here. Like, what should I be doing on YouTube?
Well, you can start by, I can see you have your YouTube channel in a tab over here. Can you click that one?
Absolutely.
I think what you're doing right now is pretty awesome. Like the way you're presenting, I would very much think of speaking slower if you're asking for feedback, because people want to build themselves, and they can do, because your guides are very advanced, but then they have to pause the video and rewind a bit. So since you asked for feedback, I would say speak a little bit slower. You will gain a lot of viewers for that, but it also has advantages speaking fast, because then you'll get the more advanced viewers. But that will be my feedback, and I think it's I think it's an awesome channel. You clearly had the thumbnails are good. I will say that since again we're talking feedback here and we're seeing your Trello PixieBrix video here, I will say that if you took a look at these thumbnails here, you can see the live stream, building a meal planner plus random meal. Can you see that one? One that, if you look at that, do you think that there's any chance that I can read what you are writing with the small letters there?
No, that's very true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
No,
Very tiny.
and it's small things, and I've been going through them myself. So it's not, but it's just something that you don't think of in the beginning. But people, if they decide if they should click this or this, then they will look maybe for 3 words in a thumbnail max, and then a picture and some graphic. I'll say that.
Yeah.
That this one RSS feeder reader was good, just with the white ones here, and then some graphic around it, because you can read. At least I cannot read it. Of course, I could if I made an effort. But usually when we decide which video we want to click, it takes 2 seconds.
Right. Yeah. We don't put a ton of time into vetting out how it looks or what all it says. We need that to grab us quickly. That's a good point. Yeah.
But I would say that what you have going for you, the most important thing is that you're a good presenter and you know your stuff. You can easily build PixieBrix flows, Trello flows, whatever you want to build, you can easily build them and present them. So these are just small things, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's good feedback. That's good to know. And I regularly get feedback in real life that I need to talk slower, so I know that's true of me in videos too.
But I would say that if you and I talk together, if we met and we talked, I like you talk fast, because I can understand what you're saying. But it's just when people they search, they say that they want some PixieBrix things, then they want to get taken through a certain build, and often they're building themselves on the side, and it's really fast to sit and drag these things in. Otherwise, they should pause the video, of course. So
Right. No, I definitely get that. There's been some like programming tutorials I followed where I'm having to like pause every few seconds to keep up, or like type and do the different steps. So yeah, that's good feedback.
Cool. And again, Brittany, thanks for being here. And
thanks for having me. This has been awesome. I've enjoyed it.
And for those ones out there, I can see that you already got 1 subscriber, Iona. Thanks, Iona, for joining. And I tried smiling, Iona, today. Iona said that I didn't smile yesterday, so I tried to smile a bit more today. It's just when I'm focused, I forget to smile. But so you got 1 subscriber there, Brittany. And I'll definitely, if you're interested in the viewers out there, if you're interested in more PixieBrix, more Brittany will do more PixieBrix build on her channel. You can see the channel here. You can search for Brittany Joiner. There's also a link in the description. And if you want to do more PixieBrix, I'll say the best place to start is either PixieBrix, the homepage, or the Slack, which is in the chat. I can just post it again so we make sure that people can join the Slack. It's completely free, and you can network and solve and build PixieBrix things there. So definitely recommendation here. Is there anything you want to add, Brittany?
No. Thank you so much to everyone for joining today. And yeah, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact me pretty easily through my YouTube page. So if you ever have anything interesting you want me to try to build, let me know, and I'll do my best.
Cool. See you, Brittany.
See ya.
Bye-bye. That was great, Brittany.
Hey, sweet.
I can